Hey, Lewis, if I said the Eagles are going to draft A.J. Brown's eventual replacement in round 1, do you believe it or not?
I think it's possible. I think this is definitely possible now because I think this is coming to a head here. I think you're going to wind up seeing, and I've always believed all along, that A.J. Brown was just making just enough noise, and now with all the things that have come out about Jalen Hurts, that they would be potentially moving on down the road. I think this is one to watch very, very closely. If they do draft a receiver in round 1, I think A.J. Brown, his days are numbered, and the clock will be ticking quickly.
Quicking towards January. It shows June 2nd.
That's right.
Booger, if I said the Raiders should trade Max Crosby on draft night, believe it or not?
I believe it if it's the right price, Greeny. You know, they had 2 ones from Baltimore, and obviously we know what happened with that situation. I don't know if they're going to get that anymore, but if they get the right price, whether it's 2 2s, whether it's a 1 and a 3, or whatever the conditional information or language is, then you should move him. If not, then I think there's no better friend for a young quarterback than having a really good defense, and Max Crosby makes that defense better with him than without it.
And then Lewis, if I said the Giants should draft Jeremiah Love if he's there at 5, and they could win the NFC East if they do it, believe it or not?
I believe that they should draft Jeremiah Love. I think any team should draft Jeremiah Love because he is a difference maker. Will they win the NFC East if they do? No, I don't believe so. I don't know if their defense, Pro Bowler and an All-Pro almost immediately.
Okay, I want to dive into this. I saw this the other day. Mina Kimes on her podcast with a really interesting conversation about the notion that a young quarterback needs a bell cow running back in order to continue to develop. I want you to hear what she had to say.
When you look back at the young quarterbacks, year 1 or 2, who broke out, and you look at the conditions, every single one of them, I made a list right now, had either a wide receiver 1, like a legit dude, or, and this is what you would say with the 2016 Cowboys, Dak Prescott, an elite offensive line. And very few of them had elite running backs, to be honest. It's wide receiver, offensive line.
So it's a very interesting conversation, in particular, Mel Kiper, for this year's draft, because sitting at 4, the Tennessee Titans with second-year quarterback Cam Ward, sitting at 5, the New York Giants with second-year quarterback Jackson Dart. So what do you think of that premise? First of all, anyone who knows Mel knows you've long had this long-standing rule about not taking running backs in round 1. But the idea that if you're going to help develop those guys, you're better off getting them a top-flight wide receiver or building up your offensive line than taking Jeremiah Love. What do you think, Mel?
Yeah, I started that philosophy 30 years ago, guys. Okay, don't take a running back in the first round. And I would not take a running back in the first round now. But I would take Jeremiah Love. Why? Because he's not just a running back. He is a receiver, slot, wide. He doesn't fumble the football. He is a touchdown waiting to happen in a variety of ways. Just a running back? I'm with Mina. But he is so multi-talented. Like I said, he is just not a screen, swing pass, check down. He's a slot wide receiver in an offense as well. Like I said, so dependable, so reliable. Never fumbled the football at Notre Dame.
Booger, should they take him at 4? Should the Giants take him at 5? Should he definitively be off the board by the time we get through the Giants pick at 5?
Well, Greeny, if we believe what every GM always tells us, they're going to take the best player available, he should go number 1, because by all accounts, he's the best football player in this draft. And as far as Mina's talking about how a number 1 wide receiver or how Jeremiah Love could help a young quarterback, I truly believe that, because here's why, Greeny. Understand this. When you're a quarterback, you touch the football every single play. And so when you have somebody, it's going to help a young quarterback to throw it outside to a number 1 wide receiver. You're trying to take the pressure off the quarterback position until they're able to carry the load, because we realize rookie quarterbacks can't do that. Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft. He deserves to go number 1. Now, we all know why he's not going number 1, because the quarterback position is so valuable. But yeah, if you think that you can maximize his ability a la Christian McCaffrey or Jahmyr Gibbs, yes, he deserves to go as high as you think you can maximize his athletic ability.
For those of you who are not following this closely, as we're 2 weeks away from the draft, the first pick is going to be Fernando Mendoza. What we expect is the second and third picks, the Jets and the Arizona Cardinals, will take one of 2 pass rushers. Between the 2 of them, they'll take the 2 pass rushers, David Bailey and Arvell Reese, and then begins the intrigue about Jeremiah Love. Do you think the Titans should take him at 4?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. Because, look, we've all said it in different ways. I'll just put it like this. He's not just a running back. He's a weapon. That's how you have to look at it. And we know that there is precedent for this as far as how these kind of guys affect games. We saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did for Detroit. We saw what that meant for David Montgomery's time in Detroit. He's not there anymore. And we know that Dan Campbell's going to use Jahmyr Gibbs like a weapon, not just a runner from the backfield. Number two, I'll say this. When I was at the Combine and I was watching the running backs run routes, I was sitting there going, why is there a wide receiver with the running backs? And it was him. It was Jeremiah Love. He legitimately looks like that. He legitimately is a guy who can go out in the slot, and if you put an 80 number on him, you would go, that guy must have been playing wide receiver his whole career. He's that good. That's not hyperbole. He's that good. And that's why I think the Titans would be well served to get him in the fold.
And Mel, quickly again, for those who are not following it closely, there are good offensive tackles in this draft. There are good wide receivers. But it is not a year where you have a can't-miss, unbelievable, all-world, 15-year-old pro left tackle or wide receiver sitting there that you would think is worth going at 4. Is that right?
Yeah, Monroe Freeling would have had another year at Georgia. He would have been that guy, but he's a little bit more developmental, but he's got huge upside. And if Jordan Tyson would have been healthy through the process, he'd have been way up there as wide receiver 1, which I think he still will be, but would have been in the top 5 overall. So because of that, Jeremiah Love's got to go very high in this draft, no question about it.
I'd be fascinated to see if the Giants actually even give some thought to trying to move up a couple spots and see if they can get their man. Hearing talk about his fit in the Clint Kubiak offense, is that something you're concerned about, Booger?
Greeny, I'm not concerned about it at all. And, if you look at the Kubiak offense, it's going to be under center, play action. So what does that mean? The quarterback has to turn his back to the defense, but when he turns his head around, he better be able to process information quick, make quick decisions, and be accurate with the football. And Fernando Mendoza can do that with the best of them. So I have no questions at all about him fitting in this offense.
Mel Kiper, do you?
No, not at all. And you think about Jackson Dart last year, we're saying he's the clapper. It's going to take him a year or so, right? How long did it take him? Just a few games. So Fernando Mendoza, 35 starts. Hey, under center, is it that difficult? He's played football for a while. He'll be fine.
All right. Unlike Mendoza, who we know is going first, Tai Simpson, we have no idea where he's going. Lewis, is he a first-round quarterback in your mind?
Yeah, I think he can play the quarterback position at a first-round level, a level that you would associate with a first-round pick. Is he going to ultimately wind up being a first-round value? There's some people who don't believe he has a spot in the first round, and maybe he goes high in the second round. But when you look at Tai Simpson and you watch him as far as his decision-making, his accuracy, his mobility, his ability to play under center, play in the gun, throw the football from different launch points. He can do all of that. He gets to the right place. There are going to be some people going, did we concentrate on the wrong things with this guy?
Booger, does he belong in round 1?
No, Greeny, because we continue to try to find a team for him. And like this almost reminds me of the Shadur Sanders of it all. And I don't mean to get Mel riled up early this morning, but everybody says what he is, but nobody can tell me where he's going. And I think if you look at Tai Simpson, the first half of the season was outstanding. The second half of the season wasn't so much. And we can talk about the offensive line, but they still have playmakers at Alabama. So there are some questions about him. But again, if he's going to be